This video is brought to you by Banks.
So don't you tell me I am selfish just because I look out for myself.
This is the Z Fold 6, a super expensive foldable that I bought and sold more than once over the years, at least in its previous iterations. This one in particular was probably the most anticipated phone for me, as the Fold 5 planted the seed for my transition to Android last year, and it was almost perfect. With that being said, this will be my daily driver for the foreseeable future, and I'm super happy with it. However, being super happy doesn't mean this device is perfect. Far from the truth.
Look out for myself.
Come to think of it, this is a ridiculously expensive phone, the price of which can get you so many things. An example would be another Samsung Galaxy phone plus watch and earbuds, or a similar combo from other brands. A 16GB 14-inch MacBook Pro, if you will, or even a car that can take you from point A to point B. You name it, it's expensive. Being so expensive still doesn't mean it's perfect either. Despite now being IP48 upgraded, also featuring something called shear thickening fluid under its foldable display, making it significantly more durable, this is still a fragile phone when placed head-to-head to most slabs of glass devices out there. Its biggest problem, however, is neither its fragility nor its price. Its biggest problem is this, the S24 Ultra. That and reason. Allow me to explain. When it comes to the display, the Ultra is more dense. Physically, it has more pixels, making it much more appealing on paper. Furthermore, despite my initial excitement while watching the event, I realized that the Fold 6 didn't incorporate the anti-reflective screen technology the Ultra has. You know, the display is not that black hole that swallows reflections, resulting in just average reflectivity on the outside, with some more prominent such on the inside. Despite its improved display and crazy brightness levels on both screens, just like on the Ultra, the crease when unfolded is still more noticeable than something like the OnePlus Open. Yet it is better than the Fold 5, which wasn't bothering me to begin with. Side note, visibly, you'll ignore it altogether a few minutes after you start using it, only perhaps to notice it when, sliding your fingers over it on occasions, which is where the improvement comes. But overall, this ain't no Ultra display. It is time for yet another non-scientific sound test. I have prepared 3 devices, all of them are set at max volume, and I'll start with the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. Okay, so that's a tough choice. I think all of them sound amazing. The most bass comes out of the iPhone 15, while the best separation comes out of the Z Fold 6. But overall, great sounding devices altogether. However, I'd pick the Z Fold any day. Switching from the S24 Ultra to the Z Fold 6 immediately brought my attention back to the battery icon on the top right. The Ultra really spoiled me. After using it for months, I would fast charge it in the morning of day 3, only to forget about it the next 2 days. It's no VOOC charging, but at 45 watts, it would swallow the juice while prepping breakfast or getting ready for work. The Z Fold, on the other side, fast charges at 25 watts, which, let's be honest, is a first world problem, but factor in the smaller battery capacity and shorter lifespan before the next top-up, and it easily results in a new daily routine. So yeah, it ain't no Ultra. The cameras are yet another thing that kind of bothered me. For example, the other day I noticed some dolphins, and having the reflex to pull out the Ultra, knowing I would capture them just fine, I ended up with this hodgepodge of a photo. Don't get me wrong, the cameras work fine, but they feel kind of mediocre once you're used to photos like the Ultra. What is one word that is worse than mediocre? I'm trying to find that word to describe the front-facing under-display situation
inside the inner screen, the camera. Now, I know this camera is all to be used for meetings and stuff, but it's 2024 and it reminds me of something from 2008.
While the Ultra can simply call its S Pen on demand, the Fold requires a separate case to keep it in place, and that pen works on the inner display only, which is weird. Perhaps for $2,000, the inclusion of the S Pen and the case itself would have been a great selling point. Talking about cases, this is the Banks Aurora Armor Air case. Crafted with 600D Kevlar fiber, this case is inspired by the colors of the Northern Lights. I like the fact that it's minimalist, sleek, and incredibly smooth to the touch. It measures at just 7mm in thickness, and as you can expect, it's ultra lightweight. With it, you can effortlessly wireless charge the Z Fold 6 or even the Z Flip for that matter, all while providing raised camera lens protection. Another standout option, and perhaps my favorite of the two, is the Banks Montage Armor Air case. This one features hinge protection and a blend of 600D and 1500D Kevlar fiber. As you can expect, it supports wireless charging without needing to be removed. Now you might wonder why these cases for the Z Fold lack a front cover. The reason is that Banks believes a front cover could interfere with these screen protectors, reduce the visible screen area, and potentially fall off after extended use, prioritizing honest product features over exaggerated claims. So why not explore the Banks Z Fold and Z Flip cases? Check out the first link in the description below. Now, factor everything I said about the Z Fold and the Ultra and consider that the Ultra is $500 cheaper than the baseline of the Z Fold 6. Yet, I still love it. You see, one of the reasons I sold my OnePlus Open was the white outer display, which made the phone feel like yet another giant device, just like the Ultra. The narrow screen of the recent Folds have always been the perfect recipe in my book. Don't get me wrong, I completely understand the complaints of the narrow typing experience on the outside, but especially with the Z Fold 4 and 5, I was willing to swallow that for the ability to swipe tap when in a pinch while having a much more comfortable one-handed usability. Fortunately, that is still here and the screen is now close to 3mm wider, which I think should be the max. Now you might be thinking that the tremendous 3mm widthitude is no big deal, but it actually results in a better aspect ratio, improving the two-handed typing capabilities a lot. All that while looking perfectly symmetrical and sharper all around. Now usually, all good things come at a price, and this symmetry in the flat sides department lead to a tad more difficult unfolding experience, a slippage, if you will. This thing costing an arm and a leg, however, will most likely cause you to put a case on it, like the ones I showed you earlier, which will immediately eliminate any discomfort when trying to pry it open. So at this point, you might be wondering why all the praise and excitement having proclaimed the Z Fold 6 somewhat mediocre. Well, if you've never used a foldable phone, it will be difficult to convey it, but there's something magical about that form factor. As a huge lover of the iPad mini, I always wanted to have an ultra-portable tablet that has an amazing display and power. Sure, there are other great folding phones out there that have no crease, wider outside displays, better batteries, and faster charging capabilities, but none of them come in a package like this. One seemingly unimportant feature that I was missing on the OnePlus Open like crazy is hidden under the customization settings of the home screen. So when you hold your finger and you go to settings, you have the ability to turn off cover screen mirroring. What that means is that you have one screen here, one layout on the inside, which is very different from the layout on the outside, which makes this phone feel like two separate devices. So you have like your regular phone slab of glass on the outside that you can use for like responding to messages, and then you have your tablet mode, which could be very different, and this thing is a game changer. From the ability to properly multitask to top-of-the-line file management system, the DeX, this is now a bundle that folds into perhaps the best pocketable device with an amazing one-handed experience. The fact that it's thinner and lighter makes it feel no different to carrying my 6.1-inch iPhone 15 Pro. Unlike the Ultra, my pockets don't scream when I want to slide it in, and when one of my hands is carrying something, I can easily single-handedly interact with the entire UI. Design-wise, having reduced those corner radii, the Z Fold feels super modern. Alongside the overall even bezels and even satisfying spacings, both on the inside and on the outside, this phone feels as the Z Fold Samsung always wanted to create, making automatically all older models feel obsolete. In fact, I'd say that the Z Fold 5 now feels much more like a prototype to this one, and that phone was a handsome guy. And then there's the inside screen. To this day, I haven't seen a person who wasn't impressed by the sheer presence of unfolding a screen with so much potential. The 7.6-inch display is absolutely perfect for watching movies or TV shows, playing games, and most of all, getting things done. You want to run 3 apps at the same time? Boom. You want to prop the phone to watch something? Done and done. You want to reply to an email? Boom. Unlike on the outside, the split-screen keyboard is something that I can only describe as beast mode. Pair that with AI power and the ability to improve or change the tone of your writings on the fly, or searching for anything your heart desires, it's an absolute pleasure. One feature that I recently discovered is the ability to slow down a clip by holding your finger and saving it. I mean, I knew I can hold my finger to slow down a clip, but I wasn't aware that I can actually save that clip that was slowed down. So in order to do that, all I need to do is play the clip and hold my finger to slow the footage down, and as he swings, I can just release that, and I'm presented with an icon to save that clip in the gallery. Now, keep in mind that this works in the default gallery app of Samsung, not in Google Photos. But once this is done, I have a 4K slow-mo clip, which is super clutch and comes in very handy when you have amazing moments with the family. This being a Galaxy device, you can go nuts when it comes to settings, the most recent discovery of mine being the ability to increase the touch detection region for the left and right gesture controls, compensating for having a cover screen case. There's always something new to tinker and have fun with, and when there's not, there's always good luck, which is the next level of customization. As I've said before, Z Folds taste better once they marinate, and by marinate I mean buying them much later in their cycle. For example, you can get a certified refurbished Z Fold 5, which is a very capable device coming with a hefty 512GB of storage for $1,200. Currently, there are great offerings from Samsung themselves. Their trade-in program is as juicy as cutting into a perfectly cooked steak, being able to knock off the price by 50% if not even more. What I'm trying to say is that if we start to think about the Z Fold 6 outside the price buzz, and considering the fact that this phone will be supported by Samsung until 2031 or 2032, this might actually be the fold you want to grab, because let's be honest, there are folds and there is the Z Fold. If you enjoyed this video, then you should definitely check out my EDC, which features the Z Fold 6 alongside some other cool pieces of tech to complement it. Like and subscribe to the channel as well as my newsletter, and as always, it's been an absolute pleasure. This is Z, over and out.